My name's Amelia Ramsey-Lefevre, and I want to say welcome to everyone on behalf of the Upstate Coalition to ground the drones, and on behalf of the Syracuse Peace Council. We're so happy that you're here. I know a lot of you were at the community center yesterday, and you took part in our wonderful day full of workshops and education and networking, and we're going to build on that, and we're going to have a great demonstration today, so thank you. Our first speaker today is Nick Mottern. Nick, all right. Nick has worked as a reporter, researcher, and writer and political organizer over the last 30 years. While in the U.S. Navy, he was in Vietnam in 1962 and 1963. He's the director of the 2012 National No Drones Tour. His articles have appeared in Truth Out since 2008. Thanks so much, Nick. The more you stand back, the less feedback.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to start, and I think I speak for everybody here, when I express my gratitude to the people here in Syracuse who have put in so much time and attention to detail and care, and letting us be here and let us have the food, the drink, the hospitality. So let's give them a real big applause. Thank you so much. I'm going to be very brief. My experience with the military goes back to when I joined the Navy after I got out of college. I volunteered to go to Vietnam. I had a lot of very unhealthy ideas at that time. I also believed what our government told us. And my remarks today are addressed to the people that you will be talking to as you go over there, and what you mean in terms of this struggle that's going on right now. The base commander has an order of protection, which is a very peculiar thing, because how can we harm him or the military? I believe that the order of protection is to protect him and the people on this base from their own consciences. What we represent here is a voice of conscience. And so right now we could think these people are our adversaries. Actually, they're people like us who maybe didn't get the benefit of the kind of education we've had and the people we've known. There is something called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It's a great document. It comes out of the Second World War. What's going on here at Hancock and around the country violates at least 8 out of the 30 articles in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a document that was signed by the United States. Eleanor Roosevelt was the chairperson of the committee that drafted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So when we go forward, and as you carry the voice of conscience, we can express some prayers that the people within this base will hear that and will open up to the possibility that they've been lied to, that they've been misled, that they're in a culture that is destructive to them and their families. We have to understand that these people, when they went into the military, did not understand that they would be executioners, that every day they would go forward not with the mission of flying a plane. They would go forward with the mission of executing people. We understand that they follow people with these drones day in and day out. They know the habits of these individuals that they're killing. They know, and the way no one else knows, that these people are being pulverized by these Hellfire missiles. They've got every reason to be very protective of their consciences. And I just want to read a quote from Archbishop Oscar Romero. I think he was mentioned last night. And in his last homily, he said, "It is high time that you recovered your consciences and obeyed your consciences. It is high time that you recovered your consciences and obeyed your consciences. And so I want to just say I'm very proud to be a part of people who wish to awaken and help these people here recover their consciences. And we must urge them, disobey illegal, immoral orders from your superiors. Disobey illegal, immoral orders from your superiors. You have the right to do this, you have the obligation to do this, and that's where we're headed. Where people who are doing the killing say, no, no, no more killing, no more killing. Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm Joe Lombardo. I'm with Bethlehem Neighbors for Peace, an anti-war group in the Capital District area, Albany. I'm also with the Upstate Anti-Drone Network, and I'm the co-coordinator of UNAC, the United National Anti-War Coalition. And thank you all for being here today. They thought they could stop the protests at this base by arresting people, by telling them they can't come back. And our presence here says we're coming back every day. We're coming back in bigger numbers, and we're going to stop these drones. So I'm going to introduce the next speaker. And this is Debra Sweet, who is the director of The World Can't Wait. She says in her introduction, short and sweet introduction, pun intended, stop thinking like Americans and start thinking about humanity. This is a leader of the National Anti-War Movement, Debra Sweet.
I just want us to take a moment to understand how important us being here today is. The audience is not only ourselves. The audience is not only the police forces there and the base. The audience really is the rest of humanity. On March 19th or 20th, I was being interviewed by Saudi TV about the 10th anniversary of the war in Iraq. And I began to talk about the destruction of a whole country in our name by our government and what had been done to the people of Iraq over 20 years, Democrat and Republican president alike. And the man interviewing me stopped. He was crying. He said, I'm Iraqi. Nobody in Iraq ever hears this. They don't know. They think that Americans all support the destruction of our people. They never hear this. And I told him that when I was a young activist in the 60s, fighting against Vietnam, we had a huge advantage because we had such a big and powerful movement, and we so decisively broke with our government that the people in Vietnam understood the U.S. government was one thing, but the people were another, and that we supported them. And they must see these images across the globe to know that we are not people in support of this utterly illegitimate, unjust, immoral U.S. global war on terror. Rather, to us, American lives are not more important than other lives. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Debra. Sarah, do you want to come up? Our next speaker is Sarah Ahmed. She is from Iraq. Sarah, you can come up right here. And she told me some other organization she's part of, and you know what? I can't read my handwriting. So I'm going to introduce you to Sarah.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, and I'm from Iraq, so it's different. For me, being here is so much different. I cannot say different than all of you, but it's kind of like different kind of feeling because I'm from Iraq. Just seeing this part, all of you, all the people being here just to say we are anti-war, we are against it, it's just kind of, it's very emotional to me because partly, Debra said what I was about to say, which is Iraqi does not know that. They don't know that. I will not generalize. I will not say all of them, but I know that most of Iraqi don't know, and the reality of that, the government is separate than the people, and the people are different, and some of the people are against it and say no to war, and we don't approve of it, because Iraqis see American as America, which is wrong, because I see that, and I as the reporter that interviewed Debra, it's very emotional because we don't know that there's a lot of people against the war and a lot of people saying we are with Iraqi people, and I just hope that Iraqi people can see and can listen to all of you. It's kind of hard because of the media and what they want us to know and what they want to show us, and it's all over. It's everywhere. It's the same as the media here in the United States. They don't show you what Iraqis think and what we really are now after the war. I just believe that the only answer for everything is peace, and this is yay. I believe that there is no war that will solve anything. It's only gonna mess everybody. It will mess us inside without knowing. Just being in a war zone and just seeing people being killed and seeing the sadness in the faces, in Iraqi faces when you walk in the streets. You know that we are a wounded country. You see it in the faces of people, of ordinary people, like people that living now there and trying to live and trying to cope with everything, which is just sad. And I hope that everybody understand there and here the government, which is I don't think they will ever understand governments what we want to say, what we have to say, because they just live in another universe, I guess. We are anti-war. We don't want to do anything. We don't need that much police officers waiting for us to do something stupid, because we will not do it. We're just peaceful human beings trying to convey a message and trying to make people hear us and understand what we want, which is peace.
Our next speaker, Bruce Gagnon. Among many other things, Bruce is the coordinator of the Global Network Against Weapons and Nuclear Power in Space. Between 1983 and 1998, Bruce was the state coordinator of the Florida Coalition for Peace and Justice, and he's worked on space issues for 30 years. He initiated the campaign to bring our war money home in Maine in 2009, and it spread to other New England states and beyond. So, welcome, Bruce. The more you stand back, the less feedback you get.
Hello. It's great honor to be here with all of you. I've been following these protests from afar for some time, and I'm just thrilled to be here with you. Today, when we reach the gate, a group of us from Veterans for Peace, what we call the Veterans Peace Team, is going to stand and read the names of children from Pakistan who have been killed by these drone strikes. This is the real terrorism. When we hear about Boston, and we hear about how wrong it was to kill innocent people, isn't it equally wrong? Isn't it equally dark and evil for us to do the same thing in Pakistan and Afghanistan and now on the African continent? And shouldn't we resist all forms of terrorism? Because isn't our killing as much of terrorism as anybody else's? So for me, this is very special to be here to make that statement, that I stand against everybody's terrorism, especially our own. We have significant problems in this country: growing poverty, growing unemployment, now climate change we face, and the future generations are going to face it even worse. These are the problems that we should be dealing with today. These are the places our tax dollars should be spent, not on more war. Bring our war dollars home. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Our next speaker is Marilyn Levven, who is a longtime anti-war civil liberties and Palestinian solidarity activist. She's from Boston. She came here with a carload, couple of people, groups of people from Boston. She is the other co-coordinator of the United National Anti-War Coalition and represents both UNAC and the Eastern Massachusetts No Drones Network here today.
Hi, everybody. I'm really pleased to be here. I've been reading and learning about what you've been doing here and very impressed for so long. Today, as you know, drones are the face of modern warfare, both at home and abroad. Lethal drones ruthlessly kill families in Afghanistan and in countries we are not even at war with, Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia. Our godlike assassinator-in-chief decides who will be assassinated anywhere and anytime. And at the same time that drones are invading our skies for criminal and safety surveillance, but we know that often, as we saw in Boston under martial law after the marathon bombings, that we, the people, engaged in peaceful activities in our home are treated as the criminals. And even if drones are not armed today in our skies, once they become part of the militarized police force, I guarantee they will be. Our call today is for no killer drones and no spy drones. Let's hear it. No killer drones and no spy drones. No killer drones and no spy drones. But drones, by land, sea, or outer space, are just the technology and tools that are used for war and for repression against us, the dissenters, working people, particularly people of color, immigrants, Muslims, and many, many others. And at the same time that we are protesting the use of drones, we must not forget the multiple wars the U.S. is waging today, not only those, but also the threats of war and aggressive acts that the U.S. is conducting against many other countries. Spy drones routinely fly over Iran and Syria as preparations for future military actions. This is on top of crippling sanctions, which is already an act of war. Nuclear armed bombers are sent as dangerous provocations to North Korea. A drone base is placed in Niger to possibly target Mali and other African countries. We must not forget the reason that the U.S. is an imperialist power acting in the economic, political, and military interests of the ruling wealthy elite, and that their aim is to dominate and control the wealth and limited energy resources of the world. They will do anything they can to further their aims, even if it means ravishing and impoverishing the planet and causing millions to die. We must not let that happen. Our demand is U.S. hands off Korea, Iran, Syria, and Mali. Hands off Korea, Iran, Syria, and Mali. Hands off Korea, Iran, Syria, and Mali. Thank you.
The police are telling us that anyone who's wearing face paint will be arrested. So, I don't know, but I have to tell you that. The other thing I have to tell you, a happier announcement, is that there's still lunch left. So if you'd like some lunch, you can go over here to get a bag lunch.
Even if you have face paint.
Even if you have face paint. Our next speaker is Mark Johnson. Mark, are you coming up? All right. Mark C. Johnson, Ph.D., became the executive director of the Fellowship of Reconciliation in the U.S. on March 1st, 2007. Fellowship of Reconciliation has 18,000 members and addresses 100,000 friends and allies in 45 chapters and 65 affiliates nationally. Mark did his alternative service as a conscientious objector in Lebanon, living and teaching in Beirut from 1967 to 1974. On behalf of FOR's international work, he travels regularly to Colombia and Iran and throughout the Middle East. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Pray for peace, preach peace, practice peace. Allow me to take my 3 minutes to lift up and celebrate the prophetic power of your presence here today. We gather to speak truth to power and to offer love as a response to hatred and violence. Love in action, love in resistance to empire. We come to this place to symbolize and enact our opposition to the use of power to resolve conflict. We would confront inequity and intolerance and injustice with equity, tolerance, and justice. We are here to be the voice of reason and the voice of anger and rage. We are the voice of God on earth, God's instruments of peace, the voice of the planet, the voice of the people, face to face, heart to heart. We are all prophets here. We are all poets. Finally come the poets. We are the people of peace, and in celebration of this day, I offer this poem. The stone is a drone, the sling launcher taking aim. David demonstrates to Goliath the advantage of nimbleness, the leverage of trajectory, the advantage of resistance. But David's triumph is a lesson, not a victory. His new power will corrupt and abuse. Uriah sent to battle, lust's ruse. His psalms will be lamentations. The arrow is a drone, pulled first to launch with a bow of bent ash and strung gut, then cocked into multiples of force. The crossbow and its bolt, metal-piercing jackets, armor no more. The silent slicing of death slips into the innocent as smoothly as into the shielded soldier's one unprotected gore. Everything won with war must be repurchased with labor that turns swords into plowshares, that harnesses gunpowder and gasoline to the horses of production of health and hearth at home. The bullet is a drone. Everything won by war is lost. The rocket is a drone. The only thing won by war is enmity. The truth is a drone. Everything won by war must be repurchased by humility. All the psalms of all the kings, the prophecies of vengeance warn us again and again there is no hiding from truth. The fruits of the battle will be blood, but the end of the struggle will be justice. And when it comes, it will not be death. It will be life, and it will be sung as love, finding its way at last to the heart, fist opened and raised in welcome. The simple truth is this: we have to want the change we see. We have to work at it every day. When the sun rises, we must start running. We are exactly where we need to be. This is important, and this is right. To be here to say no to drones, no to war. There is no way to peace. Peace is the way, and that is love. We will not be reapers of vengeance, or we will know the wrath of that evil. We will not be predators of innocence, or we will be rendered without limbs or hope. Hear our voices, feel our feet, fill the air, shake the street. No to war, no to drones. We are where we belong. This is our song.
Thank you, Mark. Alicia Godsberg is the Executive Director of Peace Action of New York State. Peace Action represents over 4,000 New Yorkers across the state working for nuclear abolition, and moving the money from weapons and wars to our communities. This is Alicia Godsberg.
Thanks. Thank you, Joe. Thanks, everybody, for being here and inviting me to speak, and to the organizers of this amazing rally. I'm looking out at you all, and I'm reminded 2 summers ago, I was standing on the top of a van in front of Futenma Air Force Base in Japan on Okinawa, talking to some labor activists and some Japanese activists about that aspect of U.S. empire and how that wasn't wanted there either. And this is a very familiar looking rally, so you guys have company around the world, which is amazing. I'm going to be brief. I just want to say, I want to express I don't know what the right word is, my outrage, my heartfelt disappointment, my anger at the fact that our allegedly constitutional scholar president has decided that he can wage wars without going through proper constitutional measures by dropping bombs on Yemen and Pakistan, countries that we're not at war with, by targeting and killing American citizens without due process. It's outrageous. We need to keep protesting. We need to be out there. But I want to reinforce that being against drones and militarized drones was not always getting attention, was not always popular as a position, and it's getting more so. People are understanding what's going on. People are waking up to the truth about what drone strikes are doing around the world, not only killing innocent people and making things harder for Americans, and just being an absolutely horrible instrument of war and surveillance coming to the skies above you any day now. I know in New York City, it's on the way. So I want to encourage you to take positive actions like we're taking today, but also remind you that even though your government is unresponsive and you think it might be moribund and kind of a waste of your time, it isn't. People are beginning to listen to this message. You need to get on the phone. You need to talk to your friends and encourage people to call your senators, call your representatives, call the White House, and tell them how you feel. The more people that do that, the more they hear from you, the more they're moved. You think it doesn't matter, but it does. They read the letters to the editor. Their staff reads the opinion pages. If you say their name, they're going to read it. You have to get your message out there and affect change. And I want to say that it works, so don't be discouraged. We're here together, and we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia. Okay, our next speaker is going to be Elliot Adams. Elliot is going to speak a little bit, and he's also going to talk. A few of the speakers mentioned the order of protection, so Elliot's going to explain what that's all about and what we should be doing about it. But let me also just introduce you. Elliot is former national president of Veterans for Peace, changed from soldier to a nonviolent warrior to abolish war. To do this, he has traveled from coast to coast, from the Mexican border to the Canada Parliament, and recently testified before the Congress Judiciary Committee calling for impeachment of who? Yeah. Calling for impeachment. There you go.
There you go. Hey, impeachment is cheaper by the dozen. So I want to talk a little bit about this new technique they developed called order of protection. Boy, that's a senior moment there. The order of protection. This is a technique which about 20 of us have had. Anybody who gets arrested today will have one slapped on them. It changes the penalty from 15 days to a potential 7 years. It's a classic domestic violence order of protection, but it's and every lawyer who has looked at these says, "What is this? This is crazy." It tells us we're supposed to stay away from a man who we have no idea who he is. It tells us we're supposed to stay away from his home and from his school. We have no idea where those are. It only tells us where his place of work is, which just so happens to be this base. This is a misuse of a very important law for one purpose. It's designed to deny our First Amendment right to petition the government for redress. It's also designed to keep the government from being embarrassed. They have told us today that if we are seen from the base, we will be arrested. Now, they have also the telling us that we cannot have face paint. That has to do with sealing our identities, and it has to do with the order of protection. So anybody who has an order of protection, probably if you will wear a mask, they will arrest you so they can find out who you are. I want to make a point. They have said they will come and arrest us if they see us. That means very likely or very possibly they will come into the crowd and grab some of us. You need to be prepared for that. They can be very irritating. They can be very kind of scary. So don't lose your cool. Don't harass the police. I suggest we use a chant. I suggest if they do that, we just chant, "Arrest the war criminals. Arrest the war criminals. Arrest the war criminals." So that will be our technique if they come into our crowd to arrest us. Let me go on. Those of us who have visited areas that are targeted by drones know the terror that drone creates. We know that drones commit war crimes. When Ramsey Clark came here and testified at some of our trials, he told us, international...
Closer to your mouth.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. He told us that the Nuremberg principles make us personally responsible for the war crimes committed by our government unless we resist.
Right.
Now I ask you, are you going to allow your tax dollars, our government, our military to commit war crimes in our name? No. We are telling the world that they are committing war crimes and murder on the other side of that gate, and that they are arresting us on this side for disturbing the peace. Are you okay with that? No. We pay for drones to kill innocent combatants. Are you okay with that? No. Our drones are killing women in their homes. Is that okay? No. Our drones are killing children. Is that okay? No. Our nation has become infected by a pernicious and terminal disease called empire. Every man of humane convictions must decide on the protest that best suits his convictions. But we all must protest.
Thank you, Elliot. Now, I'm going to introduce Ray Kramer, who's going to talk to us about nonviolence. There's a pledge of nonviolence going around in the crowd right now. Ray is a longtime peace activist, anti-drone activist, and she just wanted me to say that she's so happy you're all here. So here you go, Ray. Thank you.
I don't know how this is going to work so well with the mask, but we'll give it a whirl. It's important that you have access to one of these. If we don't have enough to go around, even with sharing, then I can read and then people can follow. Let me just read you a kind of brief introduction. Since 2009, upstate New York activists have been seeking to educate the public, the media, law enforcement, and base personnel about the ongoing war crimes originating at Hancock. This campaign, coordinated by Upstate Drone Action, involves a range of tactics, including some that have led to arrest, trial, and incarceration. Our entire campaign has been scrupulously nonviolent in the spirit and tradition of Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., both victims of assassination. Before each civil resistance action, participants commit ourselves to a pledge of nonviolence. And we're going to read that aloud together. Can I see by a show of hands whether people have access, sharing? Enough? Okay. Let's begin. We are committed in the campaign to nonviolence in all of our words, symbols, and actions. Our purpose is to publicize and hopefully deter the war crimes perpetrated from Hancock Air Force Base by hunter-killer Reaper drones piloted by Hancock personnel over Afghanistan and elsewhere. Accordingly, at today's event at Hancock, our attitude will be one of respect toward all, including police, military personnel, the public, and each other. We will not resist or evade arrest, and if prosecuted, we will use the judicial process to continue our anti-drone campaign. Where possible, we will put the Pentagon's and CIA's use of hunter-killer drones itself on trial. Today's action is part of an ongoing, protracted campaign. We will return to our communities and continue our work to end Reaper assassination, civilian killing, and other such acts of state terrorism. It is so ironic, our commitment to nonviolence, in contrast to our government's commitment to the use of violence as a means of international foreign policy. Despite that irony, let's use it as a strength, a source of strength. I want to tell you 3 rules to have in your head today, and this follows what Elliot said about the police perhaps coming into our space. Number 1, act with respect to everyone. Even if you see someone being manhandled, you must deal in your voice and your manner in a respectful way. That's number 1. Number 2, no running. Running is like the red flag to a bull. Do not run. And number 3, this is sometimes the most important of all, under no circumstances put any part of your body onto that of a police officer. Do not touch a cop, ever. Anywhere, anytime, and especially in this kind of circumstance. Having the chant, "Arrest the war criminals," is a wonderful way to respond in case they do intrude on us. People who are perhaps preparing to do civil resistance have been trained and have in their hearts a sense of peace about what is going to happen. If people are freaking out around any of us, that causes more tension and possibly danger. Let us use how we behave and act today, nonviolent always, in the face of violence, in the face of aggression, of bureaucracy, of imperialism, of unreasonableness, of which there may be a fair amount this afternoon. To use ourselves as the example of what we want the world to look like. And it is thrilling to me how many of you are here and how many of you are willing to support and or do the resistance that hopefully will begin or contribute to the end of this horrible policy of destruction. Thank you.
We know that while they're cutting back on education funds, while they're cutting back on money for health care and for all the other needs that human beings in this country have, they're spending money hand over fist for the military. Somewhere around 59% of the discretionary budget of this country goes towards wars. We have troops in somewhere around 120 countries around the world. But our money, the little that we have compared to the billions and trillions that they use on war, goes a tremendous long way to stop them. Because we have peace and rightfulness and justice on our side, and we know that what they do is against the interest of all the people in this country and Iraq and Afghanistan and all around the world. So I'm going to ask you to give a little bit of that money so we can continue the struggle and can continue this fight. And as the poet and as the sung person comes up to sing, there will be a couple of people circulating with buckets. Can someone hold up the bucket? Over there. And please be generous. Put some money in here, and we are going to continue this struggle until we win. Well, Russell Brown, why don't you come up and do your poem? Russell has been a member of Veterans for Peace since he returned from Vietnam. Currently, he works in Buffalo with Veterans for Peace and Western New York Peace Center. Russell printed the T-shirts for our conference this year, as he has done in past years. Here's Russell.
Okay, this is a poem I wrote a few weeks ago. In the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about these images. I am the limbs of the children killed by the drones, gathered from the broken trees, a sad, frightening fruit, an alien among its own, hands that once clapped, faces that laughed, legs that have forgotten their dances, now too common in Yemen and Pakistan. The limbs are scattered across the land, Somalia, the Philippines, and Afghanistan. Toes without feet, removed from their resting places, not rubble, in the rubble, among the broken homes, missing children, missing spouses. Scattered limbs in shattered homes, rocks and sticks and fingers, an eye that stares at you but cannot see. All is breathless at the sight. Pieces of children, a very quiet ear, all alone in the night. A finger that can do nothing but be the missing finger of a tiny child that Michelle will never meet as she sleeps beside the Severa.
Okay, while we're lining up, we're going to hear a song, and we'll hear another one at the gate. This is by Colleen Kattau, and if people were at the community center last night, you know you're in for a treat. She's a song singer from Central New York and a social change artist. This is Colleen. I'll just try to hold this for you.
Oh, that'd be great, yeah. So if you want to sing along, I'll just feed you the words. It's a traditional melody. It's called Tear Them Asunder. All right. Take those drums, tear them asunder. Tear them asunder, turn them into plowshares. Turn them into plowshares. Take those tools of murder and plunder. Take those tools of murder and plunder. I don't want them in the air. I don't want them in the air. You've been working on your warfare. You've been working on your warfare for centuries of time. For centuries of time. All your weapons get you nowhere. All your weapons get you nowhere. And no peace do you find. And no peace do you find. What peace has been won? What peace has been won? Where's the space between wars? Where's the space between wars? Who is left to gather? Who is left to gather the blameless body? When you strike the mother's door, when you strike the mother's door. The silent killer's up there stalking. Silent killer's up there stalking. Neath the perfect storm of ignorance. Neath the perfect storm of ignorance. Who is questioning? Who's talking? Who is questioning? Who is talking? Where apathy has no defense. Where apathy has no defense. Calling all people out. Calling all people of this country to resist the death machine. To resist the death machine. For its reach knows no boundaries. For its reach knows no boundaries. And respects no liberty. And respects no liberty. So take those drones and turn them into plowshares. Oh, tear them asunder. Take those drones, tear them asunder. Tear them asunder. Turn them into. Turn them in. to plowshares. Take those tools of murder. Take those tools of murder and plunder. We don't want them in the air. We don't want them in the air. Shove it up. No, we don't want them in the air. We don't want them in the air. Ground the drones!
Ground the drones!
Not for mass killing. The United States in control of 120 countries.
Resistors, thank you for coming out to Hancock Air Base today, where they fly the drones from that kill people overseas. We have Kevin Zeese, he's going to talk to us. Kevin is the co-director of It's Our Economy. He's an attorney who has been political activist since graduating from George Washington Law School in 1980. He works on peace, economic justice, and criminal law reform and reviving American democracy. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you very much. I'm here today on behalf of Darvish, a 13-year-old male who was murdered by a drone strike. Approximately 400 children have been killed by the drones, 4,000 civilians. We're targeting low-level perceived enemies and doing immense damage to the world and our nation. First of all, I want to thank the Upstate Coalition, not only for organizing this event, but also being persistent in opposing these drones and protesting at this pace. Thank you all very much for your efforts. And I want to thank all you for coming out to show that the anti-drone movement is growing. And it is growing. This week in our weekly Wednesday column at Truth Out, Margaret Flowers and I covered the drone movement. It is a growing movement. And it's growing because as people learn the truth, they oppose drones. They don't want to see the United States killing civilians. They don't want to see us creating enemies. They don't want to see us causing war crimes. One of the people we quoted in that article was Jay Wenck. He's a World War II veteran, a Purple Heart winner, member of Veterans for Peace. And he said that one of the reasons we have drones is so the people who kill can keep their hands clean. The people who kill can keep their hands clean. We're here today to witness war crimes, to send a message to the people involved in this base who are part of a conspiracy of mass murder, to have a crisis in conscience, for them to recognize that what they're doing is a war crime and that they are complicit. It's our job to spread that word throughout our communities and throughout the nation and throughout the world. We want the people of the world to know that the American people do not support this war crime policy of drones. It's our job to let the country know and the community know. I hope that in Syracuse you'll think about a tactic of putting up signs throughout the city. A message to the killers in our midst. A lesson to the killers in our midst. Check your conscience. Ask questions. Become a whistleblower. Disobey the unlawful orders of your commanders. It's time for us to say, no more drones. No more drones. No more drones. No more drones. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Now we have someone who represents the best of our movement and the best of the people who are now standing on the other side of that fence. Colonel Ann Wright served for 29 years in the U.S. Army and is a retired colonel. She also was in the U.S. Department of State for 16 years and resigned in 2003 in opposition to the Iraq War. She was a delegate on the citizens' diplomacy trip to Pakistan to challenge U.S. assassination drone strikes. She was arrested in drone czar John Brennan's confirmation hearing for director of the CIA. This is Ann Wright.
Thank you. 2 years ago, we were standing here. We were standing here as the first big protest outside of Hancock Drone Base. And I'll just wait for just a minute because, you know, we have with us a young man who's here from France, who's covering this rally for his press agency. And it just shows how important it is that we stand up as Americans. Oops, sorry. That we stand up as Americans to show the rest of the world that not all Americans believe in these drones. That we stand up, that we say to the rest of the world that these drones are, these assassin drones, these killer drones are in no way helping U.S. national security. In no way is it preventing people shooting at our American troops who have invaded and occupied other lands. There are reasons why other people are shooting at our soldiers, and it's because of the policies of our elected administration, starting with the Bush administration, where I resigned in 2003, 10 years ago, in opposition to that Iraq war. And now we are 10 years later and protesting another president and his policies, and particularly the policies of assassin drones, of killer drones. That this sign says 200 children killed by drones, but I think that's an underestimate by a large number. Even one of our senators, one of the drone champions, Lindsey Graham, says over 4,700 people have been killed by our drones. This is a policy that is jeopardizing our national security. In no way is helping America become free or the world free. What we need is freedom from policies that are killing others all around the world. And as a former military, retired military, and a former State Department person, I call on the people that are there at Hancock Drone Base to look into their consciences, to look at the policies that they are representing, and to really look at what's happening with your service to our country in the military, that indeed you may be harming our national security. So I am so pleased to be here with all of you all who've taken time from your lives, from places all over our country, to stand to the world to say, no to drones, no drones, no drones, no drones, no drones. Thank you.
Some of the drone resistors who've been working the hardest and the longest to oppose these illegal drones are not with us today. Some of them are in jail, and some of them decided not to come because of the order of protection. So I just want to acknowledge Jim Clune of Binghamton, who's in jail right now. Brian Hines of the Bronx, who's in jail right now. Ed Canaan of Syracuse, and Mark Sibilia Carver of Trumansburg are all in jail for resisting drones here at Hancock. And those who didn't come because of the order of protection. So now I'm going to introduce our last speaker before we have a little bit of song. Noor Mir is the anti-drone coordinator for Code Pink. She was born and raised in Islamabad, Pakistan. Thank you, Noor.
Hello, everyone. I originally wanted to have this speech towards all of you, but this is my first time at an airbase. I was talking to Rouge, who works with me, and she is from Yemen, and we were walking here, and we said we are so overcome by looking at this fence with these people lined up, staring at us, not saying a word, watching these cars go by, watching people live their lives, and this is where it all happens. So I want us to turn around and address the people standing on that side of the fence, and just say that you need to stop. You need to, how do you sleep at night? Wake up and realize that you are part of a horrible system. We aren't the terrorists. This is not what terrorists look like. You are causing terror. So I want us now to say together, when drones fly, children die. 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 Thank you.
When we were in Pakistan, I was one of the people who was on Code Pink's tour to Pakistan. We spoke to parents. We spoke to family members of people who were killed by drones. We carried posters and pictures of children who were killed by the drones to Waziristan. With a huge caravan, miles long, of the Pakistani people, we were to go into Waziristan where the tribal leaders were to hold a huge rally. The tribe people in the tribal areas want peace. The Pakistani want peace. And the 31 Americans that were there want peace. So why do we have war?
Can you keep the flag away a bit so we can get a good shot?
Noor Aziz, 8 years old, male. Abdul Wasid, 17, male. Noor Saeed, 8 years old, male. Wajid Noor, 9 years old, male. Saeed Wali Shah, 7 years old, male. Alicia, 3-year-old, female. Wari Ramzeb, 14-year-old, male.
Arrest the war criminals! Arrest the war criminals! Arrest the war criminals!
Arrest the war criminals!
Not the resistors!
Arrest the war criminals! Arrest the war criminals!
Join the United States Armed Forces.
No announcement was made when we were arrested.
No announcement was made.
Bravery is displayed here, not there.
Arrest the war criminals!
Arrest the war criminals.
Listen up, folks. The folks that are laying in the road, we give you an opportunity to get up. Refuse to get up, you're going to be arrested for disorderly conduct and obstruction of governmental administration. It's your last opportunity to get up.
Someday the world will judge what you're doing here the way they judged the Nazis.
Arrest the war criminals! This clause is known as arrest the war criminals! The supremacy clause. Arrest the war criminals!
Arrest the war criminals!
The Constitution and the laws of the United States.
Have you ever read the Constitution?
Take a pledge to defend the Constitution and all the treaties of the United States. We are a lawless nation. And if you are law enforcement people, you should complain.
An act of injustice against one is an act of injustice against all.
The preamble to the United States, the UN Charter, states that its purpose is to save the war criminals. against another.
Thank you all for teaching the soldiers about bravery.
This treaty applies both collectively and individually. All those branches of government on all levels, U.S. federal, state, and local government, starting with the executive branch of the United States and executive legislative branch, members of the United States Armed Forces, and all departments of law enforcement, all civilian staff, uphold the Constitution, which includes Article 6.
Arrest the war criminals.
Arrest the war criminals.
Arrest the war criminals!
Arrest the war criminals.
Arrest the war criminals!
Is this what you're gonna do to your grandmother? Is this?
Arrest the war criminals.
Just arrest the freedom! Arrest the freedom rider!
Arrest the war criminals.
Have got to go.
Arrest the war criminals! Arrest the war criminals! Arrest the people that are doing the killing! Arrest the people that are doing the killing! Arrest the war criminals! Arrest the killers! Arrest the killers!
Good for you, Packy.
Arrest the war criminals!
Drones fly, children die.
Arrest the war criminals!
Arrest the war criminals.
We're with you! Wave two! American flag! You guys arrest the war criminals!
These people serve this country. You are not.
Shame. I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
Shame! 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 Shame!
What will you tell your kids tonight?
My heroes are in handcuffs!
You're arresting your brothers and sisters.
These are true patriots! We want the best! We want the best! drones. Love the vets. We hate the 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 drones. Love the vets. Thank you. Hey, why don't we get those flags back, you guys? Thank you. What they take for the military for? Thank you. Hey, officer, can we get those flags back? Officer, can you please get those flags back?
That's your answer.
All right, if that's the case, I'm glad to give it up.
It's probably evidence. These people are pictures of people we killed, they will say in the court.
They'll lace it with contraband and then say this is what they have. They're taking the coffins on their faces. It doesn't look like a war terrorist to me.
Until 2 o'clock. It's time for you to start forming up to march back. We're trying to do this orderly so that we can make sure that you have the right to do the same thing next time you come here. So our bosses want you to start to line up and head back to the meeting place. Let's do it orderly and peacefully so that we can continue to do it the same way we did it today, okay, next time. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I hope you all realize you're in violation of your oath to protect the Constitution. We have a right laid out in the Constitution to peacefully assemble, and you have arrested people people. We're doing nothing wrong. Nothing. Shots of them going at all. No, I hope you feel good today.
What I've learned is that the individuals who were arrested and went to the sheriff's bus over there will be taken to the Onondaga County Jail, also called the Justice Center, at 500 State Street. They'll be booked, fingerprinted, and likely released today on an appearance ticket. Okay? The individuals who were arrested for violating an order of protection, and I believe those are the people that went that way after they were arrested, will be taken to the town of DeWitt for arraignment, and it will be up to the judge as to whether or not they go to jail tonight. It's probably likely that they would. Our permit is to keep on moving at this point. Please consider that and keep on moving if you do not want to be arrested.
Arrest the war criminals! 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 Arrest the war criminals!
My name is Ann Wright, and I'm a retired U.S. Army colonel and a diplomat who resigned in 2003 in opposition to the war in Iraq. I'm here at Syracuse drone base to challenge the U.S. assassin drone programs that are killing people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and Yemen and Somalia. With the great organizations that are here of Veterans for Peace and Code Pink that I work with directly every day, but Upstate Drones Coalition, all of the New York organizations, the Syracuse Peace Council that put all of this together so that we could be here to challenge the U.S. drone program.
My name is Judy Homanich. I'm here today at Hancock Field because I know that the use of drones, killer drones, is illegal and immoral. I started protesting in 2009, April of 2009, being arrested at Creech Air Force Base in Nevada, coming back to find out that they were in my own backyard. As a mother who buried a child, I know what the loss of a loved one is, and I don't believe that my son's life was any more precious or valuable than anyone else's life. I believe that all the people that we are killing, murdering, assassinating by drones, they have a right to life, they have a right to a future, and if they are guilty of a crime, they have a right to be tried and to defend themselves, and if convicted, then be punished. And I am so glad to be a part of this group that is speaking out and acting out in honor of life and peace and justice.
Hi, I'm George Homanich. I'm from Binghamton, New York. I represent Broome County Peace Action. I'm also a member of a local church, and I'm here as a Christian because as a Christian I'm opposed to the use of drones because of the way they murder children and women and innocent men. They're basically unmanned assassination. They're wrong, they're immoral. That's it.
I'm Elliot Adams. I'm with Veterans for Peace. We are here in Syracuse because we believe that we know that the Hellfire missile, which is the weapon that's used for drones, is an indiscriminate weapon. It's 20 pounds of explosive, and that's a very powerful explosive. That's an explosive which is much more powerful than 20 pounds of TNT. You drop 20 pounds of that metal enhanced explosive right here, it kill us all. It's an indiscriminate weapon, and therefore it's an illegal weapon. So we're here to try to call attention to it, tell the people on the base that they are committing war crimes. I wish when I was in the service somebody told me I was committing war crimes so I could have learned before I committed more. But we're here to help them understand that they are committing war crimes, to tell the world that they're committing war crimes. This is an illegal weapon. It's illegal, it's immoral.
My name is Joe Lombardo. I'm with the Upstate New York Coalition Network to ground the drones and stop the wars. I'm also the co-coordinator of the United National Anti-War Coalition, which is a national coalition of anti-war groups. I think the main issue with wars these days is drones. We're conducting wars a little different under the Obama administration than we did under the Bush administration. Under Bush, we invaded countries. Obama started that way with his surge in Afghanistan, but quickly saw it was a failure and quickly saw that sentiment among the American people and people of the world was turning against our wars when we did those kind of invasions. So now he uses drones and targeted killing and special operations forces and tries to get third-party proxy countries or groups to carry out the ground part of the war. So drones is very important for the American anti-war movement right now. And it's also a way that war is spread to countries that we're not even at war with, like Pakistan, because we couldn't invade Pakistan, but we are able to send drones there. So the anti-war movement and people of conscience have to get behind the movement against the drones.